y'all, it's Heather, and we are going to be talking all about makeup mistakes today. How to avoid them, how to fix them. We all make mistakes. I have made all of these mistakes that we're going to talk about today. We're going to do this half of my face the mistake way. The way I would say, don't do this if you're expecting this result. You know, and this half of my face, we're going to do the correct way. I think this is going to be fun. I want to share my tips and tricks. Maybe you just want to elevate your makeup game a little bit, and I'm here to help you. I've got you zoomed in so that you can really see the application process, everything like that. The first mistake I want to talk about is using too much product. I see it all over social media, and I am definitely guilty of this sometimes too. Taking the product and just squeezing it out on the skin, it can be kind of like satisfying to see the texture of products on the skin like this. But then once you get to applying them, it can be too much product, and it's definitely harder to take product away than it is to start out with a little and slowly add more as you go. You can see I'm just having to blend a little extra, more than is necessary, right? To get that primer to sit onto my skin. One pump is all I should need for my whole face, and I have kind of a bigger face. Like, I have a lot of surface area. So when I see people doing this, it's excessive. You're using up your product too much. If you're doing a whole pump, one pump should be enough to cover my whole face. So if I do a whole pump, I can even start off with the half a pump, and I'm applying it this way. Then I'm just taking that half a pump to my face. I'm seeing how much area I can cover, and then I can always add more, and it's gonna be so much easier than this side where the product is just sitting on top of my skin. It's gonna make it so that the primer can't really do what it needs to do. Now, I only have primer on my face, so you can definitely see I have more on this side. It's more glowy. It looks good because I don't have any makeup on, but I'm gonna apply my foundation, and you can definitely see that the foundation's not gonna lay as well over the side that just has this layer of primer underneath it. It's sitting on top of the skin, and it's not allowing the foundation to really sink in and apply and be flawless because it has that layer underneath. Whereas the primer that I really worked into my skin, pressed in, I did not use too much product. The foundation is able to sit on the skin, sink into the skin, really get where it needs to be, and I'm gonna have a much more skin-like finish. I can definitely tell the difference on my face. This side over here where we have too much product, too much primer, too much foundation, it's sitting on my skin. I can also feel it. It feels heavy, not something that you can see, but something that I can feel. And this side over here, I don't feel the makeup sitting on top of my skin. It was easier for me to blend. It took less time because I wasn't trying to mush in this extra product, trying to get it to like go somewhere that looked right. This definitely took me longer. I was trying to blend, press. I'm sure some of that extra product just eventually went into my brush because there's just so much sitting there. Because that primer was too thick and then a little too much foundation, it just leads to everything kind of sitting on top of the skin and not meshing like this side over here. The next mistake I want to talk about is applying everything all at once rather than one thing at a time. What I mean by that is you're applying your concealer, you're kind of taking the wand, applying it everywhere you want to apply it, and then before you blend, you're moving on. Before you've blended your concealer, you're grabbing your cream bronzer and you're just drawing it on, putting it where you want it to be placed. You're applying your cream blush where you want it to be placed, kind of mapping out your face. We see this a lot, especially here online. I remember seeing it in books, magazines, things like that before social media was teaching us how to do makeup. We would see these like face charts, which are super helpful, right? To kind of help you visualize where you want to put your product. But when you apply them all at once like this, you also have to blend without having each step blended in between. You kind of have to blend all together. So rather than just being able to blend in my concealer, see if I need any more, I'm having to push this in, try not to interfere with the blush and bronzer because I definitely don't want that under my eye. And then I'm going with the same sponge and trying to kind of press in my bronzer. I'm going to be flipping my sponge because I wouldn't want to use the same side I used the concealer. I'm trying to blend in that cream bronzer and not interfere too much with the blush. And then I'm trying to go back to the blush side and press that in. And what happens is everything kind of meshes, but it also kind of gets a little muddy, messy. You can see maybe I want to add just a little more concealer right here to this inner part of my eye, but I'm going to have to be so careful once again to make sure that I don't cover up that blush. I keep it really precise. I'm gonna have to keep being super, super careful to not have everything go muddy because it's already a little you know? Say I wanna add a little more blush now, then I'm going back, trying to blend, make sure that I don't get it into that bronzer. If I wanna add more bronzer now, I've gotta be super careful that I don't cover up the blush. And this way, I feel like I just keep adding more product, more product, more product, and it's kind of unnecessary. Now this looks okay, it doesn't look bad. Again, we're going for these kind of subtle things that we can do to elevate our makeup game, right? So what I'm gonna do over on this side is each step one at a time. I'm gonna apply the concealer, I'm going to blend it, then I'm gonna apply cream bronzer and blend it, then I'm gonna apply cream blush and blend it. It's gonna let me add more if I need more in between each step rather than trying to do it all at once. And the end result is going to be that we use a little less product. That in turn means the makeup is gonna sit better on the skin, it's going to look better, it's not going to be as muddy, and since we have less of a layer on, it's just going to look more skin-like. From side to side, I definitely feel like I can see the difference. Yes, it is subtle, it may not be a super obvious difference right at first, but this blushed side, I was able to keep the blush a little more lifted, how I want to kind of lift my face. I was able to add a little more blush if I wanted to without worried about things getting a little muddy. This side, it just looks a little flat. I don't want them to just be one on my cheek. I think this looks a little more fresh, a little more put together, whereas this just looks a little meh. Yes, I think it can seem a little quicker to just concealer, bronzer, blush, blend it all at once, but I think it will save you time and product if you're doing it separately like I did over here. I'm gonna set my face with powder and then we're gonna move on to my next tip. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to keep it real with y'all, and let me tell you, the next mistake I hear people making is that they never or rarely wash their brushes. Now, I'm not here to attack anybody. I'm not coming to your home looking through your bag, but I know I talk to people so often that tell me their blush isn't blending, their bronzer isn't blending, XYZ always looks XYZ wrong, they don't like it. A lot of times I say, what brush are you using? When did you wash your brush last? Is there a product on there that may be interfering? And so many people tell me I'm supposed to wash my brushes, or I never wash my brushes. Your brushes may be in your makeup bag partying like it's 1999 because that's when you bought the brush and it's never been washed. It can be making your makeup look so muddy. It cannot blend right because the brush is just like coated in old makeup and oil and who knows what else, dust if you leave it out. Wash your brushes. Wash your brushes. I understand if you're using the same bronzer brush every single day, you may not need to wash it all the time. It's just you that's using it, but every so often you should be washing your brushes. I would say if you're using the same product, the same brush every single time, still at least wash it every couple of weeks, every month. I don't know what I would recommend to you based on hygiene. Me personally, I wash my eye brushes after every use, or I use a Sigma switch, but I still never use eye brushes more than 2 or 3 times without washing them. For my face brushes, I never use them more than a week without washing them. I always wash my brushes, and if you're having products that you really are excited about, you really are hoping to work for you, and they're just not blending, they're looking a little patchy, they're going on not quite right, wash your brushes, let them dry, test your products again and see, because it may just be that you have a lot of gunk and nasty buildup on your brush and it's not applying the product well. You can definitely see side by side. I picked up the same amount of product on the brush. I dipped the brush in the same amount of times, but because the brushes that I used over here already had that product in them, they're brushes that I pulled from my brush cup that are to be washed. Even though I've brushed them off on a towel, they were coated in product. So when I picked up the fresh product and went to put it on, the blush and the highlighter don't look as true to color as they do over here because they already had existing product on them. The bronzer, like the brushes don't have that clean feeling, so I'm not getting the true color. I'm not getting the easier blend, and everything just looks heavier over here because even though I dipped in the product the same amount of times, there was just more product on the brush that I used over here versus the clean that I used over here. We're not going to talk about eyeshadow mistakes today. I feel like that could be a whole separate video. Let me know if you want to see that. I absolutely love eyeshadow. It's one of my favorite parts about makeup. I just uploaded a video, 20 eye looks in less than 20 minutes. Check that out if you want to see some eyeshadow tutorials. Let me know if you want to hear eyeshadow mistakes. We can definitely do that. But today I do want to talk about mascara. I have done this. I'm putting on mascara. My arm slips, I get distracted, I sneeze, I look away, something, and I get mascara where it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be on my eyelid, and you go to wipe it away and it just smears, and then your eye look is messed up or your complexion is messed up or something. Trust me when I say, even if you are in a rush, let that mascara dry down. Give it a minute, give it 2 minutes if that's what it takes to dry down and be completely set. And then you can usually brush it away so much easier versus when you wipe it off when it's wet and then you're left with this streak on your face. Allowing the mascara to dry down before you try to clean it up is going to save you so much time, tears, frustration, heartbreak. Now, I know that demo was a little dramatic, but all of these things I have actually done. I have hit my mascara wand over here on my cheek. I have hit it up here. I have gotten it all over my lashes. So I kind of wanted just to show you like how it's so much harder to wipe it away when the mascara is wet versus when it's dry. The last mistake we're going to talk about is using an ultra glossy lipstick or gloss with no lip liner. Now, it can be very beautiful to have an undefined lip, a little blurred, a little messy. It can look ethereal, editorial, really beautiful, but for the most part, if you want your lip to last, if you want it to stay where you want it to stay, you want that more defined look, a little more pulled together, put together, something that's gonna last more than half an hour, use a lip liner with your glossy lips. It's gonna save you heartache. It's gonna save you from that lipstick kind of feathering into any fine lines, bleeding elsewhere. I hope this side-by-side comparison of do's versus don'ts was helpful. I do wanna let you know, if you do any of the things that I say not to do, if you love the don'ts, definitely keep doing you. I want you to feel great in your makeup, no matter how you choose to apply it, what techniques you like to use. I say do you, because you're gonna look most beautiful when you were feeling yourself, when you were confident, when you were loving it. And remember, makeup is here not to make us look better, it's here for us to have fun and play and have some creativity in our life and have some you time. So if you love the don'ts, I love it for you. I just wanted to drop some tips in case you were trying to elevate your makeup game. Maybe you've had some of these problems and a little light bulb went off when I said like, this is why this is happening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see another video like this, definitely let me know, because I have a whole list of things. I just wanted to kind of prioritize the top few that I thought would make the biggest difference in these subtle little changes. I have tons of makeup videos here on my channel, so I would love it if you would stick around, because I could and do talk about makeup all the time.